Hi, everyone. I'm here today with the author J.E. Sutton Jr. From gritty thriller to holiday hijinks. His range as a writer is something I get to see firsthand every day. We're going to be talking about his talented projects and how he balances such different genres, and maybe even get to know those behind the scenes secrets that he hasn't shared with anyone anywhere. Welcome, sweetie.
Thank you for having me, and I hope I have some secrets to share, or maybe I'll just make some up.
That would be right. So I see you at your desk every day. But what's happening in your head that I don't see? And like, are you writing while you're doing the dishes or doing the laundry?
That's a good question. So, yes, is the short answer. I'm always thinking about scenes or stories or ideas. I think I remember just the other day we were talking at dinner, and I was relating multiple scenes from different books and different time frames, and it was maybe kind of making your brain hurt. But to me, that's what's going on all the time. I'm always thinking about different scenes or ideas that I'd like to explore. And when I'm writing on a project in real time, I'm constantly going over the next scene in my head, trying to get it right, trying to think how it would look. And so until it's written, it's constantly replaying in my head, especially if it's a scene that I think is very important or pivotal to the story. I'll go over that over and over and over again. That's especially true of action sequences or sequences that are physical, because I need to feel how they actually are going to play out in the mind of the reader and make sure that it looks and feels realistic. So yes, when I'm doing the dishes or when I'm cooking or when I'm cleaning or laundry, whatever I'm doing, I'm always thinking about something. Almost anything that happens in my life can end up in one of my stories because I use just about anything for inspiration. It may be changed somehow, but it's going to be there in some form or the other.
So maybe I should be making you do more around the house? Kidding. I'm kidding.
Maybe.
I'm kidding. So how does my feedback actually change the direction of your stories?
So I can't imagine having written um, any of the work that I've done so far. And so far, I've written uh, one complete novel, two short stories, and I've completed the second draft of my second novel and started writing a third. None of them would be possible without having your feedback, because it allows me to get the outside perspective. When you're writing something, it all makes sense to you. It's you may go back and read it later and be confused by it, but but in the writing, even when you read it back, some things just make sense because you know where they're coming from. And when somebody else who's not inside your head reads it, and then they ask questions, sometimes they don't understand or sometimes they misunderstand, but that gives valuable feedback to let the writer know whether or not what they're saying is landing with the reader. And some of the greatest scenes, in fact, I know one in my new book that I thought was fantastically written and so clear and so clever, and when you read it, you're like, I don't understand what's going on. I'm confused. Who is talking? What is happening? And so it outlined that I really needed to rewrite that scene a little bit to give the reader a clue what was going on, because it wasn't as clear as I thought it was. And so that helps a lot. Sometimes the feedback isn't taken literally. Sometimes it just gives a direction for what you need to do to make the story more clear, or to clear up things. And sometimes it takes a little while to digest that and see how to use that feedback. But the feedback itself, the story doesn't work if you don't have someone like yourself giving me feedback. And the support that you've given for the projects has just been
Well,
unbelievably
thank you.
important.
Thank you. It's truly an honor to be part of this project. It truly is. We're going to go back a little bit. I don't mean to cut you off, but there's been a question that has come up several times from friends and family. It's about your author name, J.E. Sutton Jr. I know you as Jerry or Boo Boo or whatever I want to call you in the heat of the moment.
Right.
But J.E. Sutton Jr. Tell us more about that.
So when I started to think about the name I wanted to use as an author, I uh, I originally was just going to be use my given name Jerry and my last name and maybe the junior at the end. I had thought about it different ways, and then I started to think about my name. And so growing up, I was named after my father, and for my entire life, I resented that because to me it felt like I didn't have my own identity. It was his name, and I was just sort of drafting off of it. And so forever, I wished my name was something different. And um, of course, uh, Dad passed away. It's been almost, I think it's been
20,
around 15 years, 20
28,
years, 20, 20
2008,
no,
2009.
is it 2009? So
Yeah,
18
it's
years or
been a
something
while.
like that. So he's been gone for a while. And after he passed, I started to feel differently about his name. It felt more like an honor, right? More like I was carrying on that name and less like I didn't have an identity. So I sort of changed how I felt about the name. And I started thinking about it. And my father's family never referred to him as Jerry. I never once not heard
Right.
a single person on his family side refer to him as Jerry. They always referred to him as his initials, J.E. But they're from Georgia, from central Georgia.
Deep Georgia.
Deep Georgia.
Deep Georgia.
So what they actually called him was J.E.
Which I still can't say right.
J.E.
J.E.
So just pronouncing the first parts of those initials. So it wasn't J.E., it wasn't Jerry, it was J.E. And so when I decided on a name to write under the books under, I decided to use the initials and the junior part as an honor to him and to honor to my transformation from being resentful of that name to being okay with it and feeling it as an honor to carry on that name. So it has deep meaning for me, but it's essentially literally just my name, just my initials.
Right. So he was J.E. Did I say it right? No, two E. But anyway,
J.E.
were you a junior then?
Yes.
They
yes.
called you junior?
They always called me Jerry. And so it wasn't that there was confusion about who was who. It was just that it was his name, and the junior part probably grated on me more than anything else. That I felt like that was his name, and I was just sort of borrowing it. Like I said, once he passed, I felt much differently about it, and I felt very connected to him with that name. And so it is an honor to him and an honor to my growth in accepting that name and trying to live up to that name.
See, now our readers and listeners know why you use that name, because it has come up many times. And when I tell the story, it's not the same. It's not my story to tell. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, so we know that you get your inspiration from doing the laundry and cooking, which I love because you're pretty good cook. I have to say, we eat well. Are there other things that have influenced these works other than your home life and your life and the books that you've read?
So I mean what I've read is the chief inspiration for where these characters came from and the stories themselves. So I think I've told people in many different venues that the character of Layla in my books is absolutely inspired by a character from Rex Stout's Nero Wolfe novels. She is the armchair detective, the detective that, for whatever reason, isn't able to move around on her own effectively and has to rely on others to either bring her information or to bring her to other places. But forever I struggled with how to write that without making it too similar to Rex Stout's character and too derivative. And so the character throughout a number of years went through a number of iterations, from robots to massive computer systems to various different things. But when I started to work and read more about AI and started to envision the future of AI, it became clear to me that she was an AI character.
So I'm just going to interrupt you. Do you think that current technology finally catching up with your dreams has fueled your writing?
I
Or do you think it's the other way?
I yeah, I think that what actually happened was I probably knew deep down what that character was. It wasn't that AI has not been something in fiction for a really long time, but it took me a while to connect the character I was trying to envision to this character. And I think it took a number of things, me getting more used to working with AI technology through my day job in working for technology and insurance services industry, and reading a book, The Empire of AI by Karen Howell, which is a book about the foundation of OpenAI and sort of tells the story of how the modern AI has come to be. So those sort of things unlocked that idea in my head. It wasn't that it wasn't possible to write before. So it's not like I needed something to happen. It was just inspiration comes in different places and different times, and it takes the right thing. I think it's common in fiction to see a character struggle with an idea that they can't quite get out of the back of their head, right? This itch that eventually the character figures out. And I think we probably think that's a little bit of a convenient plot device, but I think it does happen in real life where things that you have known for a really long time get unlocked by other things that happen in the moment. So I think that's really what it was. And then the other thing that happened is that I actually wrote it down
Right.
because I had been telling the story in my head off and on for a long time. And then when I sat down and wrote the short story, The Digital Witness, and I think I remember telling you, I wrote for several days, and I finally had enough confidence to even tell you about it and to tell you that, I've been writing this for a few days. I think this might be something. I think I might be able to do this. Because as I started to write this, the characters sort of started to speak, the plot comes together, and I ended up with a short story that's essentially the first three chapters of the novel, of the Failsafe program novel. And I got to the end, I said, to myself, I said, I think I can expand on this. I can take this to the next level because the story's not over. But I always had that fear that maybe I don't have it in me to write a novel length piece of fiction. And it turned out that I did. It's
Right.
not the longest novel ever written, but it's right in line with some of the novels that I read growing up, the
Right.
Rex Stout novels.
It's an easy read, which is, I mean, excuse me, it's basically gotten me back into reading. You going through this whole thing has changed my life in that way, other than I've read that story a bazillion times, not really a bazillion, but in full detail. I've seen the good and the bad of it, and it has changed something in me where suddenly I'm devouring books. So thank you for that. But anyway, so
Yeah.
the other thing is that you make the technology seem easy for somebody like me who, yes, I am a gadget girl. We all know that. But some of the server chip thingy, networking, digital twinning, all of that was like whoosh, way over my head. So, how do you fight with that tendency to just write what you know versus I need to think about my reader?
Yeah. Um, I made a conscious effort that I wanted the technology to be a part of the story. So I needed to do enough research to use the right terms, to use the right um, atmosphere so that
Oh,
people understood.
I Googled stuff, so it's all right.
But the other part that made that easier is that a lot of the technology in the Failsafe program is just a little ahead of where we're at today. So I needed to look at some theoretical stuff and to explain it not just to the reader but to myself to make sure that I kept it consistent as well. One of the things that really bothers me about um, uh, fiction, usually motion pictures or TV, but even writing, I don't really like it when they get the technology
Right.
grossly wrong. You have to take dramatic license at times but I don't want to write a story where the technology is just made convenient and does whatever you need it to do in the moment, regardless of the reality.
You
And
mean
so,
like when I hang up my cell phone and
and
there's
there's a
a
dial
dial
tone.
tone?
Yeah, there's no
What?
dial tone. Yeah, I don't
Come
want.
on, people. We haven't had dial tones for how long? 30 years? Oh,
So I'm constantly when I'm watching a TV show or a movie or reading a book where the technology is just grossly wrong. It's just not believable. It sort of breaks the wall for me, and it sort of pulls me out of the story, and I start thinking about the how this is supposed to work and why the technology seems wrong. So I didn't ever wanted to do that, and I didn't want to make it too convenient. I wanted the technology to drive the plot, but I didn't want to use technology as an out for the plot. So I try to be very careful about that. I'm sure it happens. I'm sure there are things in the book that are technically inaccurate, but I try very hard to make them as accurate as I can and then to explain them in a way that the user can understand it, because that's very important, because that is part of the story. It's not just a plot device. The technology is part of the story, at least for this universe. That is part of what I'm trying to do, is bring you into that technology.
right. Me as a reader appreciates that because there have been books where I'm like, I need a dictionary just to read this book, and
Yeah,
that's no fun.
I don't like books like that either. There have been several that I've read that have been written at such a level that I couldn't really understand them. I think they should be written to be
Right,
accessible to a large audience.
right. Like I don't mind, quantum physics in a story. Hello, the Expanse series, stuff like that. But make it so that I understand.
It's not a textbook.
Right.
It needs to be a story in which you explain enough so the reader can understand it, but not so much that they feel like you're just being way too expositional. You just can't. You don't need 2.5 pages describing who Layla is and what she does. A paragraph will do, and then you can show over time more and more of those capabilities. But you can't. You need to make it believable. You need to make that character in order for her to work. You have to understand what is going on and who she is.
Right. Now, I mean, there are times when we enjoy multi page descriptions of things, hence George R. R. Martin's feast
Yes,
descriptions,
yes.
because it makes you feel like you're there. But sometimes when you're reading, you're like, oh my gosh, just get on with the spoiler alert, red
Yeah.
wedding.
Yeah. I, but because I was writing a thriller with sort of a classic mystery sort of an origin, I wanted it to be fast. I wanted it to be quick. I wanted you to be able to read it in a short period of time, and I wanted you to be constantly drawn into the next chapter, which is why I do the pacing and why I do the chapters the way I do, because I want you to, at the end of every chapter, I want you to feel like I've got to read the next page because I want to know what's happening next. And so I wanted that to be quick. I don't want it to be a very, very, very long story. There's nothing wrong with long narratives. There's a place for those that's very good. But in this story, for these characters, I think it was important that it's a very fast read and you get through, and it's not. I don't do a lot of overly descriptive. I'm a lot more from the Elmore Leonard school of writing. If you've ever read Elmore Leonard, he's very, very dialogue heavy and very descriptive light. But he wants you to feel the story and experience it, but not necessarily stop and look around at you as if you're in a 3D sort of experience. He wants the story to move, and that's the way I
Right.
write as well.
Right. Okay, so you've mentioned characters, and so was is there a specific character that you couldn't get out of your head? Was it Layla? That's what I'm thinking, is that Layla pretty much drove the inspiration, although I don't know, Alan is a really strong character.
Um, Layla is the key to the story. So without her, there is no story. Alan comes from a lot of different places. I mean, clearly he's the man of action in the story. So there are echoes of um, old school detective stories
Right.
in there, even Rex Stout or Raymond Chandler. I mean, he has origins there, but Layla was always what keeps the story together. There are characters that are in the story or in the books that maybe weren't supposed to be in the books, but were developed for the plot that I couldn't then get out of my head,
Right.
and I couldn't stop writing about them. Layla was always going to be there, and Alan, yeah, there is more to come. Layla, though, was the key to unlocking it all.
Right. Right. I'm really excited for the future of these series and the other series that you're currently developing too that we can't mention yet because
No,
that's way off.
that's
But
right.
you know, I'm super excited because I get to see all of it developing. But let's get back to what's out there right now. The Digital Witness, which is of course the short story, then the novel, the Failsafe program, and then of course the Holiday Hustle. So how did the Holiday Hustle come about? And if you haven't read it,
Go get
get
read
it.
it.
It's like Kindle Unlimited, so you can read it for free if you have Kindle Unlimited. It's 99 cents. Um, he's always running free downloads, so watch his Substack. But we'll get to the Substack in a minute. So back to the Holiday Hustle.
Holiday Hustle. I remember that it was a conversation that we had one night, and just the idea started with, oh, there should be a nice little short story about the Screaming Goat Cafe, which is a cafe, a coffee company, the Screaming Goat Coffee Company. Sorry.
Why do I not have a mug right here?
Yeah, I know, mine's over there. But so that sort of that's sort of exactly what I'm talking about. The Screaming Goat Coffee Company was a throwaway location that appeared in the Digital Witness, and I couldn't get it out of my head. So when I needed a location for a meetup later in the novel, it became that. It became Alan's favorite coffee store. Clearly, there are echoes of Starbucks and other coffee
Local Bold
stores,
City,
local
Bold
stores.
Bean up the road from
Bold
us.
Bean, yeah, up the road from us. And the name of it actually comes from a gift that somebody gave me one time, which is just the Screaming Goat toy. But so we had an offhand comment about writing stories from just little short stories from inside the coffee company, because we had some idea that, you know, anybody could go into the Screaming Goat Coffee Company and we could tell whatever story we wanted there.
Right.
So
it's truly an everyman.
Right. So we started talking about that. I remember we talked about that, and then you had an idea, and it wasn't exactly the idea we used, but
I don't even remember.
It had to do with the goat. I think it was a live goat, but I ended up going with a different idea, which is related to a screaming goat, and that was the plot element that tied the whole thing together. And so it's essentially, I believe it's 4 vignettes that are tied together over Christmas Eve, and it tells the story of the Screaming Goat Coffee Company and the employees who work there and the people they interact with on a day-to-day basis. And it tells a nice little story in 4 parts. And
I love it. It's one of my favorite holiday. It's going to become a tradition for me. I'm going to read The Holiday Hustle every year because I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, and it came together really, really fast.
Yeah, it did.
I think I wrote it in 2 days or something like that.
You did.
And we
2 to 3 days.
2 to 3 days, and we edited it in just a day or two. Yeah. And then I published it because we wanted to have it in time for the Thanksgiving holiday.
Right.
Released it just before Thanksgiving, and I really like it, and I really think there might be more Screaming Goat Coffee Company tales in the future.
Oh, I'm going to make sure there is.
So every now and then an idea pops into my head about a story that might take place there, and so I'm absolutely certain there will be other stories. So writing that story in the middle of writing the second novel, so some of those characters and some of those sort of ideas sort of get interweaved into the second novel as well, to sort of give it some universe consistency.
Right. There are other people who appear in the Holiday Hustle who are in the Failsafe program and some who are in future stories, and that's just fun. Okay, so do you have anything more to say about the Holiday Hustle?
Nope. Definitely, people should
Yes.
read it. I think it's pretty fun. It's not as heavy as the Failsafe program. It's
It
pretty.
is not technical
No,
at
it's not.
all. It's
It's not.
just good storytelling, fun, humorous, holiday cheer. Chaos.
Fun, humor,
Yes.
and then a little touching at the end. Yes, little sentimentality at the end.
Right. So storytelling, that's what the theme is here.
Yes,
And you have a Substack,
I do have a
and
Substack.
it's called what?
It's called the Bold City Storyteller.
Right. The Bold City Storyteller. Why Bold City?
Well, Bold City is a nickname for the city of Jacksonville. It was forever. It was called the Bold New City of the South. Um, that really came around when the city consolidated with the county back in the '60s and became one of the largest. It became the largest city by landmass in the continental United States, and so they called it the Bold New City of the South. And so, growing up, I heard that term forever. So when I was looking for names to relate to the city, because again, the city is a character in the book as well. The Bold City came to mind, and so I use that in a number of places. The Bold City Storyteller is based on.
As you can see, we're both Jaguar fans. So
Yep.
I moved down here and boom, first weekend, first game of the
Jaguar
games. But
first regular season game in their history.
Yeah, September 8th, 1995. Anyway, so Bold City has come up in their stuff too. So I get it. I totally get it. So your Substack, what do you do there?
So the Substack is a place where I can write. You can write more long form stuff, so I can create stories, additional material, some bonus stuff, character stuff, and occasionally some videos or art as well. But it's really a place where I can do more long form content that you can't really do in other social media. You can't do a short story and post it to TikTok or Instagram, right?
No.
You can do a little bit of that in a limited way in Facebook, but Substack has a much broader potential, and you can do that, include images, include links, and things like that. So I think it's a great format for authors to reach an audience and to give them additional material. You can also have subscribers there, which allows you to do content for subscribers only, which we intend to do, especially around the early announcements for the new book.
So you recently published a short story there called Flight Risk.
Flight Risk, yes.
Which takes place basically in our neighborhood.
Yes, it does.
Those are fun. Those little fun things that you can do. We don't need to go into that story. People can go and read it.
Yeah, all that's free. You can go and on the Bold City Storyteller.substack.com, and you can read that story.
I'm sure we'll figure out how to put a link somewhere up here, there, somewhere. Anyway, so you were talking during all of that about using artwork. I know through experiencing it firsthand with you that we both have used AI, both have used AI to create scenes to inspire. I know you have been on some author threads who have talked about, no way, don't do that. But I really think that people are missing the point of how you use AI in your creative mind, not for the writing. The writing is all you. But sometimes you have to see the chimera going down the street.
That's a car, by the way, for those who haven't read the novel.
It's a really cool car.
So in the author community, any use of AI it has been seen as very prejudicial, and trust me, and if you read the Empire of AI by Karen Howell, you'll see that she talks about the ethical and environmental and societal issues that AI brings up, and that's important to talk about it. It's important to mitigate those issues and try to make it better. But what I don't think it's realistic is that you can't ignore the reality of where we're at today. And AI exists in our world, and it is a tool that can be used, and when used in the right way, can be beneficial. And you just have to use it in the right way and not use it in areas where it shouldn't be used. So I do not use AI in my writing. I use AI sometimes to create images for myself. I don't generally use those. I don't use them in the book at all. I don't use them usually do not use them for marketing either. I try to use more traditional means for marketing. And I certainly encourage the use of actual artists to create works for distribution, especially to support your writing. But the reality is, I'm not going to pay for an artist to draw a picture to inspire me to write something. I can use AI for that, and
Right.
it's not taking anything away from anybody else.
Right.
And so I get the arguments about how AI is trained. There's a lot of misunderstanding about how AI works, and again, I would encourage people to educate themselves about that. But no matter how you feel about it, I absolutely understand and agree. I do not believe that AI should be creating content without human guidelines and human guidance, because I think the stories come from the humans. I think AI at best is a tool that can be used to help people collect their thoughts, help people think about things, but it cannot be used to create new ideas, because all it can do is learn from the past and sort of rearrange those things into a new way of thinking. So again, my approach is that it's a tool. It can be used in the right way. And we should absolutely, as a society, be looking at how do we make that more ethical? How do we make it more environmental friendly? And how do we protect artists of all different types, so that if their work is used to train one of these AI models, that they are compensated for the use of that technology. But AI and learning using existing stuff is not that much different than me reading every book that Rex Stout ever wrote, and then writing a novel that uses ideas that I came up with by reading those books. I consumed those books. I paid for every one of them. I learned from them. My brain stored patterns, and then I used that in my stories. And that's not much different than what AI does. There are ethical considerations, and I don't deny that. And those are ethical things that we need to be honest about and face. But we need to do so in a non-hysterical, non-emotional way, in a very, very logical way, looking for the future.
Okay, thank you. I want everyone to thank Jerry Sutton for coming to his TED Talk on AI and the use in books. I'm just kidding. Wow, passionate, very passionate about that. And I get it, because, I mean, we met on technology. Technology has been a huge part of our lives and, our 30 plus years together. So I get it that that's a passion. Okay. Do you have more to say?
Well, just the last thought I'll leave you is technology in general is always a disruptor, whether it's the automobile or the computer or the cell phone. No matter what, one of those examples, any of those examples you go to, when those came on the scene, they disrupted something. They disrupted someone's life. They made
Right.
other people who were working in one industry have to go work in another. That's the way
Horseless
technology
carriage.
works.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
What will the blacksmith do? They have to shoe our horses.
Right. Blacksmiths, buggy whip manufacturers,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. When technology entered the factories, that had a huge impact on people
Right.
working in factories. And so that's again, it does not say that those aren't real problems and we shouldn't consider them, but we can't just stay in one place. We have to deal with the problems, find a way forward, and make decisions that help people cope
Right.
with and benefit from those changes.
And we know that the technology isn't there yet where it's going to replace every job. It
No,
can't. It's
right.
Yeah.
And I think humans will continue to be the force for innovation and for thought and for creativity, and that's where they should be.
Right.
But I don't need humans doing things that is just mind-numbingly routine. I need them doing things that are unique, that can't be done without their creative input, and that's where that's at. So that's the end of the evangelical AI talk. So we'll move on to something else.
Okay. I told you people, passionate about this stuff. Let's do some rapid fire questioning.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Writing fuel.
Writing fuel. You mean food or drink?
Coffee, tea, bourbon.
Coffee. Absolutely coffee. I don't usually write while I'm drinking, but every now and then you never know. But usually coffee, almost always coffee. I write a lot in the morning, which means I'm always got coffee first thing.
Okay. Plotter or pantser?
I am at heart a pantser. I am attempting in my next work to be a plotter. We'll see how that goes.
Okay, and quickly explain that for the
Okay.
non-author.
So plotters versus pantsers. So a plotter is someone who, before they write a story, they'll sit down and they'll plan the whole thing out. They'll write an outline, maybe multiple outlines, different styles of outlines. They can be very, very high level or very, very detailed. But the stronger of plotter you are, the more detail you have before you ever start to write a single scene. A pantser just sort of sits down and does it by the seat of their pants, right? They just start to write. And that's how both my short story, my novel, The Failsafe Program, and the Holiday Hustle were written just by the seat of my pants. I sat down, started to write, the scene started to come to me and flow. And generally in my longer form work in both of the novels that I've actually completed, both the one I've completed and the one that I have done the second draft on, about midway through, I'll have enough of the story in my head to plot out the rest of the timeline. So I'll write a chapter by chapter outline, a very high level chapter by chapter outline.
Okay.
But it continues to evolve even after that point, and the scenes get moved around. And as things come into my head, I have to write it.
Okay.
I know, rapid fire.
Right, rapid fire. This is not.
Sorry.
This is not another TED Talk.
Moving along.
Okay. So if you're stuck in Holiday Hustle's chaos, which character would you want by your side and why?
Josh, probably, because he's the most competent. I mean, the Ashley and Daisy are probably the most fun, but Josh is who you want with you if you have something serious going down.
So not Hal?
Hal, no, Hal's a bit of a wild card. I think Josh is probably the most stable, the most predictable.
Okay. And the favorite recipe in the Failsafe program?
Oh my goodness, I don't know. Probably the Japanese chicken and rice recipe is my favorite. I love that.
But
recipe.
It is so complex to make.
It is complex to make.
Yeah.
Don't make it a lot. I've only made it 3 times, I think.
Yeah. And it's been good every time.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. He's a good cook, people. All right. So that about takes care of everything I think we wanted to get out to the people on this, our first attempt. I don't know that anyone will watch it, but that's okay. That's not about them. It's about us. Right?
Right.
That's why you wrote. It's not about the dollars. It's not about the sales.
That's right.
It's about getting that stuff out of your head. And people have enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's the thing that has been good. I mean, it's tough not to see sales as a measure of your success, but the real success is no matter who has read your book, no matter how many there are who have read it, the real success is what they say about it and how they felt about it. And almost without exception, they have been overwhelmingly complimentary of the work, excited about the work, wanting to read more. That includes people I do know, friends and family who've been very, very supportive, but it also includes people I have no connection to whatsoever who have told me that they really, really couldn't put it down and it was really exciting. When does the next book come out? That makes you feel really, really good. It makes you feel like you've connected, and that's what it's really, really about. You hope that the audience grows over time, but it's really about satisfying every single person who's read the book, or as many as you can.
He is not this verbose in his day-to-day life, people. I don't know who this person is.
I don't know about that. Depends on the topic.
Yeah, that is true. So you briefly mentioned, and we're not going to go into, this is not a time for you to detail everything that's going to be happening in the next few months, but just a quick overview of the next, let's say, 6 months.
So we're going to, in the next few months, we are going to release a second novel. It's in draft. Second draft now. It's going to go through some extensive editing coming up, and then we expect to release in the April-ish time frame. We'll be more clear about that later. Not ready to reveal titles or covers yet. That's coming soon, though. Over the next month or so, we'll start to do some reveals, probably to a small audience first, and then wider. So if you want to be a part of that, check out the Substack, check out the social media, be part of the story. I am writing another novel. We'll let that set for where it's at right now. It's in early stages. I also expect to, we're probably going to make a bit of a minor re-release to the Failsafe program sometime this year. Do some updates.
We've learned some things.
Yeah, we've learned some things. Probably do some updates to the cover. Probably do a little bit of cleanup work on the manuscript. No changes in the narrative or anything material. Just
read the book 8,000 times and still have misspelled people's names.
Yeah, just correct a couple misspellings. There's some formatting that I wish I had done better that I'm going to do. I'm going to do better.
Yeah,
we'll do a re-release here, probably timing that up.
But it's been fun.
Yeah,
it's been so fun learning about the book world and the author world and the release world and the sales world. And oh my gosh, I don't know how authors do it. I don't know why you guys aren't just sitting in a corner, fetal, like, oh my God, nobody likes my book, which is not true. I mean, we've all read horrible books. That's awful to say, but they're still out there.
Yeah. So, and that's something we really didn't talk about, but so I've decided when I release my books to go the route of independent publishing, which means that we're responsible for the publishing of the book. We do print on demand for the physical books. We do ebooks.
If you're a publisher and want to pick us up, though, we'd be happy to accommodate you.
We can certainly talk about it, but there are trade-offs to doing it that way. So the other way to do it is to get an agent, pitch those to a traditional publishing house. I'm not. There's nothing wrong with that, and plenty of people do it, and that's absolutely a good way to go. But with what I wanted to accomplish, I wanted to get the story out, and I didn't want to wait around, and I didn't want to risk not having gotten the story out because I was waiting on someone to take a chance on a first-time writer. So I decided to publish it myself. That's been successful, but along the way, there's a lot you have to learn about how the independent publishing world works, marketing your own book, handling how to set yourself up for distribution, writing your book, editing your book, and then formatting your book for publication is a lot of work,
right.
A lot more than the actual writing at times.
This could be another whole topic, though.
Yes, we could talk about that for an hour. Yes.
By all means, Jerry, go for it. And do a whole thing on what I've learned as an author. Okay?
Yep.
All right. So
that's the director's hint that we're moving on.
Yes. Yes. So, Jerry, thank you so much for chatting with me today. You chat with me every day, but it's always fun to hear about the stories behind the stories. And if you, readers, watchers, haven't read the Failsafe program, get a copy. It's everywhere. The best place is to go to Substack. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't have one, but he does.
Yeah, it's right up there. Yep.
And the Holiday Hustle, like I told you, is on Kindle, and they're both fun and exciting. And keep an eye out on what's coming up next.
Very soon.
Very soon. We'll probably be we're going on vacation, but they tend to be working vacations because honestly, we kind of love to do it. So keep an eye out for what's next from our author, J.E. Sutton Jr., and what he has next. And thank you for sharing your life with me.
Thank you. Go read the Failsafe. I keep pointing to the wrong place. Go read the Failsafe program.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.